Welcome to the Ukulele channel, where today we are learning to play Powfu Deathbed. This tutorial is a little bit, I'd say, intermediate. It's not advanced, it's not real hard or anything, it's just a little bit more advanced than a lot of the tutorials that are on YouTube already, which are usually just kind of like telling you the chords and how to strum it and what have you. But we're going to be picking out the melody a little bit and just make it sound a little bit more interesting. There's going to be tabs available on my website, www.eatmyuke.com. There's a link down below for them, so after the video jump over there and check them out. There's also hundreds of other songs you can learn, so please endeavour and dig in and learn something new. So we're going to break this song down into 4 parts. Let's start with part 1. You are putting your first finger on the 7th fret of the bottom string, the A, and then using your thumb on the open C, like this. Then you're moving your thumb down to the open E, like this. Then using your 3rd finger, going to the 10th fret of the A string, but this time you're moving your thumb up to the G, so you'd get like this. Then using your thumb again on the open E, and then going back to the first 2 notes that we played, which is the 7th fret of the A and the open C. So combining all them together, you'd get this. Don't stay. Alright, a bit slower. And then the last little part of that is the open C again, and then using your 3rd finger all the way up to the 12th and plucking the A string and the open E together, then lifting that off to the 7th. Too long. Alright, so combining them, you'd get this. Too long, don't stay away. Alright, that's part 1. Moving on to part 2, we are playing this E minor chord. So to do that, we're just barring all the strings on the 7th fret using this 1st finger, and we're just clamping that down because most of the notes are going to come from this finger. So again, just using our thumb and this finger together as our opening notes, and then dropping the thumb down to reveal that E. Then using our 3rd finger on the 10th fret of the A and the open C. So you get this. Don't stay. And then we'll just bringing that finger up to the 10th fret of the E, so you get this. Not that. Don't stay away, don't stay away. That's part 2. So combining part 1 and part 2, you'd get this. Quite simple. So the 3rd part, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Keeping that bar on the 7th fret, but this time, instead of plucking the first 2 notes, we're only just going to pluck the first one, so that C string. Alright? And then we're going to do what's called a pull-off. So we're going to use our 3rd finger on the 10th fret, and we're going to pluck that, and then we're going to drag it off. You see how that reveals that next note, that 7th note? And you've got to be really careful to actually drag it, because that's what makes the sound. If you just lift it off, it kind of makes a sound, but you need it to be at the same volume of the one you've just played. So if you drag it, that's what creates the sound. You're pulling it off. And that's how you're playing it. The thumb on the C, and then the third finger on the 10th and dragging it off. Then you're using your third finger on the 10th fret on the E and plucking that. Next is another tricky bit because you're sliding everything down 2 frets as soon as you've plucked that 10th fret, like this. Right? And the moment you've landed 2 frets down, you're plucking the C string and the A string, which are now on the 5th fret. So like this. Alright? Then you're using your thumb again on the E string. Then this finger to pluck the 5th fret on the A, and then using your 3rd finger to hit the 7th, like this. So, combining them, you'd have this. So you can actually keep that shape there. So that's part 3. Moving on to part 4. It is tricky. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It is quite hard, but give it your best go. So same principle, except this time you're barring the 8th fret. We're gonna pluck the 8th fret on the C string and the 10th fret using our 3rd finger on the A string. Alright, then we're going to use our pinky to hit the 12th fret of the E string. Now this can be quite tricky and your fingers might kind of just cramp up a little bit, but you've just kind of, we're only doing it for a tiny little bit of the song, so you just got to get it out of the way and then you can move up and relax a bit. So, in them first 2 notes, the 8 and the 10, pinky on the 12, and then using your 3rd finger on the 10th fret of the E. That's what we're doing, pretty much just that. So you can do it any way. You could either go with just that finger, or you can use your pinky. Whatever's easiest, it don't really matter, as long as you're playing them notes. Right, and then we're doing the slide down again to the bar in the 5th fret, and our 3rd finger on the 8th fret of the E string. Alright, so like this. So the moment we've slid down and hit that 8th fret, we're plucking both 5th frets on the C and the A. And then using our thumb on the E. And then this time we're going to use our pinky on the 10th fret and hit that twice. And then using our 2nd finger on the A string of the 7th fret, end on that note. And that's it, that's part 4. So combining that together, you get this. That's the end of the song. So, if you want to kind of glue it together a little bit, you could just finish on this chord and maybe give it a little strum or something, just to signify, right, that's the end, and then you're going right back round into it, because it just cycles all the way around. This is the main kind of element of the song. So let's combine all that together. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I hope it was useful and it was a little bit more advanced, maybe tested the waters a little bit and just pushed yourself a little bit more. Because I always find with the ukulele, there's always opportunities to just get a little bit better and take the instrument to places that you usually wouldn't take it. So I hope this lesson allowed you to do that. Don't forget the tabs are on my website, www.eatmyuke.com. You can find them below, and I'll see you next time for another lesson from Eat My Uke. Peace!